One, two, one, two. Yes. Yeah. Everything is copacetic. What up, world? Welcome back. New episode. Working on that consistency, man. I'm feeling good about where I'm at. It's funny when I think about the different platforms that I've had and working on trying to be consistent with putting content out. There's some that are really easy to put out. Like the radio shows are really easy to put out because they're just scheduled. You know what I mean? Especially the Welcome to the Neighborhood radio show. The podcasts are a little bit different for various reasons, but this one, I have been kind of starting and stopping it through the years. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about where I'm at, man. Coming back to you with a brand new episode. So for the previous episodes, I had been kind of finishing up the episodes, kind of with the talking about the FIAH lifestyle brand and sort of how that ties into the stuff that I'm working on. And I'm starting this episode off with it because so just like if you're new to the podcast, you're new to the idea, the concept behind the FIAH brand. FIAH stands for Fitness is a Habit, and it's a lifestyle brand that I started. It kind of started as I guess, a personal blog, and it's something I wanted to share to hold myself accountable, but then also to create a place for people to tap in if they were on a similar journey. But it's about, even though it was driven by the physical fitness, for me, I believe that there are three things that support many things, but three things in particular that support one another that are really a part of the FIAH brand, and that's physical fitness, obviously, as I mentioned, but then also mental fitness and spiritual fitness. And to me, those three things come together to support where I'm at on my journey. And I feel like if I can put energy into each of those three, then it creates space for support for each of those three. So at any rate, I have really been, for whatever reason, man, just being busy, not um, being mindful of the time that I was putting into each of them, really. But I'd really fallen off on my physical fitness, and so I was trying to get back into it. And lesson learned, hopefully. And it's funny because it's things that in my 9 to 5 I tell people all the time: when you're getting back to doing things, like, you can't pick up where you left off. And so for me, the physical fitness is, I mean, I don't really play ball anymore. Uh, it's easy. The easiest thing that I found to do is to just run. So I am now a runner, even though I don't consider myself a strong runner. But so I just, you put on your shoes and you just go. So that's what I did. I went out, man, and man, jacked my hip up bad. Like, it was a struggle just getting through my day. Mess with my 9 to 5 and the whole nine. So at any rate, it's a reminder, and it's something that I thought about. I'm bringing 5 Fridays back. I was going to do it this week, but just literally didn't get to it. Just wasn't in a place that I could get it done. But my thought is with that, and I may still bring this back for the next 5 Friday. Y'all just get a preview of it. Just the idea and the concept that regardless of where you are in your journey, on your life journey, and that I feel like this applies to anything that you're doing. If you're working on something and you feel like you've lost progress, you've lost focus, or whatever the case may be, not necessarily feeling like, okay, well, now I have to, like, I can't do it anymore, but just knowing that you can always pick it up again wherever you find yourself. Know that you can always plug in again. You can always start again. And starting again, I don't think means starting over. And I think if you come to that place, I don't think it necessarily means that you failed. I just think it means that we're human beings and we are impacted by life. And whatever we do, it's not singular. I mean, there are many things that we have to navigate. And so whatever it is, if you feel that you've fallen away from something that you've wanted to put energy into, you've fallen away from, you just haven't been consistent with something, that you can be consistent. You can pick it up. You can get back at it, and be encouraged that you're not alone on that journey. Just like I started off talking about on this podcast, man. I started doing the Everything is Copacetic podcast a while ago, and it was difficult to be consistent with it just because I have so many things so many things creatively that I'm working on. But I'm in a place now where I found a rhythm and I found a way to be more consistent with it. So that's the take home from that, man. Just no matter what it is that you're working on, you can do it. You can pick it up. You can get back at it. Um, so yeah, man, that's my fire thought for this episode of Everything is Copacetic. Just flipping things today, kind of putting it at the forefront, at the front end. It's been really, man, a lot. Is weird. It's a lot of has happened as I think about it in this last week. And when I do interviews on the radio show or when I do interviews for Klyph Notes, I don't take notes. I know that for podcasting and even for radio, there are there's guidance out there to sort of write out a script of what you want to talk about, what you want to say, have your questions prepared, this, that, the third. And I haven't done that for several reasons that I've talked about before in the past, but I've learned for this podcast it is something I'm gonna do because you get through a week and man, a lot happens. So at any rate, this week some of the things that I had an opportunity to experience that have been pretty cool, man. My circle is pretty small. I don't have a whole lot of people in my circle. Just it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And there's a couple of folk who I have been really through, I think, the most influential times in my life, which I think for most all of us is probably high school years. Some of the cats that I came up with and people in my circle who I feel like are true friends. And to me, true friends are those people that you don't have to talk to them for a minute, but when you do, it's you just pick up right there. You don't have to work through small talk or whatever the case may be. Anyway, I had a chance to catch up with a couple cats recently, and I'm not like a person who talks on the phone a lot. Probably like many of us now with texting and so many different ways to communicate with one another. But man, was like on the phone with my guy for like 3 hours, man, just catching up because we really hadn't talked in a while. And it was really cool to remember that I don't know, man, that there are people out there who can relate to the journey. There are people out there who do who can be there, in times of whatever. So anyway, it was just really cool to catch up with some folk and reconnect and hopefully it's not another several years before we connect again. Cause that's the other thing that we talked about, man. Life is short and you get to a place in life where you realize it's shorter today than maybe it was um several years ago, just depending on where you are on your life journey. But not even that, man. I mean, like I said, life is short and tomorrow's not promised. Anything can happen to any of us. So I guess the take home from that is just try to tap in with your folk on a regular basis because you don't know when you're gonna have that opportunity again. But for me, it was really encouraging and it was really dope. One of the other things that I did, speaking of connecting with folk, had a chance to connect with my nephew who came down, and we went to this spot that we've been talking about. So if you're in Portland, I'm a pizza guy, like probably too much. I love pizza; it's like the perfect food. But we've been talking about this spot in Portland called Pizza Shoals. And he was like, "It's the best pizza that he ever had." So I was like, "Alright, we're gonna see." So we went over to Pizza Shows and got a slice, and he wasn't lying, man. It was definitely good. It's a busy spot, so, you may have to wait a minute to get a table, but that I don't know, for me, that feels like that's a sign that the food is good, and we really basic, you know what I'm saying? I'm working towards plant-based, which is a plant-based diet, which is hard to do if you love pizza, but so we ain't get no meat on it. We just got like a margarita and a cheese, I think. It was tasty, bro. It was tasty. It was, good food, good food, good company. So anyway, just a shout out to Pizza Shows. They're not a sponsor. There aren't any sponsors to the Everything is Copacetic podcast at this point. So this ain't no paid sponsorship. It's just a recommendation. Like if you like pizza, I would definitely recommend Pizza Shows. They're on Hawthorne. I don't know the exact address, but you can Google and find them. This weekend also celebrating 2023 Juneteenth, and there are events happening all over the area. Um, I know that I saw events that probably started. I probably saw some events that maybe started on Friday, but there's been events throughout the week, and I had an opportunity to attend this event that was really cool. It was an event called 8 Seconds Juneteenth Rodeo, and I'm not really a rodeo guy. I mean, I've seen rodeos on television. I think I went to a rodeo years ago for a minute because I was just in a place that I was new to the area, and that was kind of the thing. There was a huge rodeo in Pendleton, the Pendleton Roundup. And I understand now that the Pendleton Roundup is like one of the biggest rodeos, I guess, at least on the West Coast. It's not in the nation. Didn't really have an appreciation for it then, had no point of reference. But this one, 8 seconds, was really cool. It's a black rodeo. So a whole bunch of black cowboys and cowgirls that were out there. And it was dope, man. It was dope on a lot of different levels. Just seeing the physicality of the events, that these people are truly athletes. You know, seeing folk who look like me in the city of Portland was welcoming, man. Weirdly, I don't know, it's weird. I guess that's not something I give a lot of thought to because I've been here long enough, and you just know that you live in a place where you are truly a minority. But bro, it was super super dope. And got to see. It was funny. Wife was like, "Man, you know too many people." But it was, a lot of folk that I know were there, and then I met some new people while I was there as well, and it was cool. The event was sold out, which is dope. There's rumor that there was such a great response to ticket sales that there's a good chance that they'll be back next year. If I'm Don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, this is the first black rodeo in Oregon, which is really cool. Also, don't quote me on this, but the MC of the event, so they had to bring in. It was at the expo center. They had to bring in a bunch of dirt, and I believe I understood her to say that the dirt that they used for the event was taken from the area where there was an internment camp here during the war, the Japanese internment camps that were here in Oregon. That was a story that I wasn't familiar with until I'd lived here for quite some time. A whole history behind that I'm not really truly familiar with, so I don't want to speak on it too much. But the event also happened not very far from Vanport, which is a very unique and significant part of the Portland area in terms of black folk in this. I mean, it was so I guess emotionally it was very impactful, but then just the event itself was dope. And like I said, the turnout was cool, and it was great to see so many people that I know. My guy DJ OG1 was there spinning, so that was cool. It was a all around, it was a great event. But once again, it was called 8 Seconds. It was the 8 Seconds Juneteenth Rodeo, and, man, just excited to see them, come back. Hopefully, this will be an annual event. But like I said, there's events going on today. I know in the city, there's some events going tomorrow. Tomorrow, I have an opportunity to be in support of an event that's going down in Gresham, or in Rockwood rather, at Vance Park. And I attended last year, and it was really dope. A lot of people were out there, a lot of vendors are out there. This year I get to DJ. So come through if you're looking for a Juneteenth event to check out. I'll be out in Rockwood at Vance Park tomorrow from, I want to say, 2 to 6, I believe. But I'm sure if you Google it, you can find it. Rockwood tomorrow, Vance Park, Juneteenth event. This another thing that happened this week. Last night, my radio show on X-Ray FM, Welcome to the Neighborhood, was really cool. I had a chance to um broadcast my 400th show on X-Ray FM, which is significant. Like, I'm leaning into celebrating these situations now, man. My 400th show on X-Ray, and I mean my 400th, like, original show, because sometimes I'll replay shows, this, that, and the third, but in terms of like, and that's my 400th original show on X-Ray FM. But remember, or maybe you don't know, Welcome to the Neighborhood didn't actually originate on X-Ray FM. It originated on another radio station that's no longer on the air, called KZME. And I had almost 700 episodes of Welcome to the Neighborhood on KZME. So, you look at that, man, and you realize that's a lot of shows. And it's been dope to have created that platform and have been there for so many artists, performers, people in the community. It's a big deal, man. It's a big deal. It also means I'm only 100 shows from 500. So, a lot of things to consider thinking about the significance of that. So once again, that show broadcasted last night on X-Ray FM, and you can actually listen to shows on demand. So if you go to X-Ray FM and then click on the show link and go to Saturday night, Welcome to the Neighborhood, you get an opportunity to see that. And it was something I guess I've done before, but never quite like this. Like I just went back and just dug in the crates. I think I went back to 2014 and just went through not like a favorites, not like a top whatever. It was simply just, yo, these are joints I haven't played in a while, and got to play a bunch of joints that made me go, man, I think I want to do this like again. In terms of just going back and looking at music that, when I get so much music every week, it's hard to keep up to a certain degree. So at any rate, that was dope. It was really, really dope to have that. And I'm proud of that moment. Speaking of new music, I got to play a new joint from the new project from Killer Mike called Michael, which is a cool project. To be honest with you, I haven't gotten through the whole project yet, but the joints that I have played, I've played a couple of singles that he released, and then I got the album, so I played the new joint featuring Andre 3000, which was really dope. But from what I've heard, and then what I've heard about the album, I think it's one that's really going to be celebrated this year in terms of a hip hop album that's been released this year. Big fan of Killer Mike and the stuff that he's done with Run the Jewels, and from the first time that I heard him doing stuff with Outkast, and um, the things that he even does outside of music. So that album is out right now. Once again, it's called Michael. So you definitely gonna be hearing more of that on my platforms, whether it be the radio or the live event that I do with my guy DJ Ambush every fourth Sunday, called No Requests at McMenamin's White Eagle. Also, I got a sneak peek, and once again, I haven't had a chance. I'm probably gonna listen to it when I'm done with this recording. I'm gonna go listen to a sneak peek of a project that my guy Dante Thomas sent me. That's gonna be releasing soon. I'm told, and just really excited to listen to it because he's been putting in work. I did an interview with Boca not too long ago, and the stuff that they're doing with Produce Organics. So anyway, Dante's he's definitely a dope MC, and I'm excited to one, to hear what he's put together, and then two, once he releases it, have an opportunity to share it with you so you get to hear it. So a bunch of new music is still coming out this year. I saw I don't know, man. I saw a headline that talked about there hasn't been a number one hip hop record in 2023 yet, I think. Which is interesting. It I didn't read the whole article, but it did speak to the fact that so much music is being released so quickly right now, and what impact does that have on the quality of the music that's being released, which is a conversation that I've had through the years. I think it's great that artists have the ability now to record and release music from their bedroom. Like, they don't even have to leave the house. But I also and quickly, people can release. I know that I know some people who've actually released some good projects. So, okay, Imma release a new album every month. I get it. That's a lot of content though, and, I mean, unless you've written music through the years and you're releasing stuff that maybe you wrote 4 or 5 years ago, that you'd spent time with. But I do wonder about that, man. When as much music is released as quickly as it's released, what does that do to the quality of the work? Something to think about, something to ponder. Um, and maybe that's what's showing up here. So it's interesting. It was just like I said, it was interesting to see that, knowing that that's a conversation that I've had with folk in the past. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, man, I'm gonna listen to this Dante Thomas record. I'm gonna get through the rest of Michael, and yeah, I'll let y'all know. I'll let y'all know what I think on the next episode for real. Um, also last week, no, it must have been 2 weeks ago now. But I finally got edited the next episode of the Klyph Notes podcast. Is gonna be dropping within the next 48 hours, probably. I had a conversation with Vinny Dwayne, and I did do some editing because and I'm gonna just say, listen to the episode, and I explained it all in the episode. But this is um, audio, and it's also gonna be video, so you'll be able to watch the whole interview. because I'm trying to create more video content. And this one, I'm so glad that I did. It was a really good conversation. And I think about it, all of the interviews I've done with Vinny, I feel that way. Like the conversations are really dope. I feel like Vinny's a very thoughtful individual. And this episode especially, man, I mean, he's always been very open, but some of the content on this one I feel honored that he was willing to be this open and share with me some of the things that he shared about his journey where he is right now and some of the changes that he's made, and being very reflective of even some of the that conversations that Vinny and I've had in the past, and some of what came out of that, and how he went back and looked at some of the things. And it was just a really good conversation, man. And obviously, we talk about music, but probably on this episode, we talked less about music than we have ever before. I mean, we talk a lot about life and faith and artificial intelligence, and from my standpoint, probably some conspiracy stuff. And it was all across the board, and a lot of the stuff that he's doing right now with content creation. So look for that. That's going to be dropping, like I said, within the next probably 48 hours. And the Klyph Notes podcast is available everywhere you listen to podcasts. So if you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe so that you can get updates whenever I release new episodes. But yeah, man, the Vinny Dwayne episode is dropping, and then I have another episode that'll be dropping next week. I had a chance to chop it up with the fellas 10,000 Rats from up north in Seattle, about their self-titled project and about some of the other things that are coming. So that will be dropping as well. Again, both audio and video on the Klyph Notes podcast stream. So again, just subscribe, rate, comment, share, like all of the things that you're supposed to do that for me. And I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to build and grow these platforms, not just for myself, but for all of these artists that I have an opportunity to provide these platforms for. So, do that. Um, I got the final artwork for the Mic Check 7 event that's happening on August the 20th. And I'm just about ready to release the full lineup. I actually sent out a press release to local journalists. I started a Substack, which I'd heard about. It's a writing platform, and though I don't necessarily consider myself a writer, I'm kind of digging it. It's kind of cool. So if you are on Substack, like if you read stuff on Substack, subscribe to my Substack at DJ Klyph. If you do, I actually did release the artwork and the full lineup there. So I know I just started Substack last week, so there's obviously I don't have a ton of subscribers. But if you want to see what the full lineup is for Mic Check 7, go subscribe to my Substack right now. You'll get to see the full lineup. You'll get a preview of the final artwork, which is just fire. Shout out to my guy Caso De Niro. He killed it, man. He killed it. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. I'll be releasing the final artwork. I just have another couple things I'm waiting on before I start posting it. But tickets are available now. They're available right now. Go get tickets right now. Don't wait. I'm gonna get them at the door. Nah, get them right now. Because when you see the lineup, you'll see why you want to get them right now, for real. Go to miccheckpdx.com. You can get tickets, or you can go to McMenamin's Mission Theater's website. You can get tickets for this event. You're also going to hear about someone who I'm looking forward to recognizing at the event. You're going to get to hear a nonprofit that I'm looking forward to supporting through proceeds from the event. It's all really, really cool stuff. And once again, man, we celebrating 50 years of hip hop. And so to be able to do it in August, to be able to do it to kick off Portland Hip Hop Week, like there's just so many great things. So go get tickets now. I want you to be a part of it. I want you to come through and celebrate with us, man. If you tapped into this, then you must know about some of the other things that I've done that I talk about on here. And if you've been a part of any of that, I want you in the building to celebrate with us, man. So go get your tickets right now, miccheckpdx.com. Lastly, man, before I get up out of here, the next time I come with an episode of this podcast, the NBA draft will have happened. It's going down this Thursday. And man, I'm reading blogs and I'm, listening to a lot of the pundits and journalists, and folks who cover the NBA and people who are fans of the NBA, just like me. And man, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting with the new collective bargaining agreement. Although I understand it's still not ratified, it seems like that's going to have a pretty big impact on what teams are willing to do or are able to do from a financial standpoint in terms of max contracts and really the whole nine. So this Thursday, I'm a Portland Trailblazers fan. If I haven't mentioned that before, and it's crazy because the Trailblazers they're in like the every day. They're like one of the primary teams that maybe just because I'm a fan of them, I'm seeing it more, but it seems like they're one of the primary teams that people are talking about even more so than the NBA champions, which is nuts. It's going to be a very significant draft. It's going to be a very significant month, I guess. Realistically, the draft is just going to be a part of that. Following the draft, obviously, free agency to see what this team is able to do. It's funny to see how many people are trying to get in Dame's head and how a lot of people just don't seem to be willing to listen to or believe the words that he's actually saying in terms of what he wants to do. But yeah, Thursday will I guess will show the direction that the team wants to go. Obviously, that will have, I mean, Dame said it himself, that will have an impact on what he chooses to do next. He says he wants to be here in Portland. He says he's said for years he wants to finish his career here. He wants to bring a championship here. He would like to do it, with a certain support from the team in terms of players. So it seems like they've already gone in that direction. They started going in that direction last year and bringing Grant here. The rumors are nuts. The idea that Zion Williamson might be available to come to the city is crazy. Although he did spend time here last year rehabbing, so he's obviously familiar with Portland. If they made that trade, I guess he would be comfortable being here. But a lot to be seen, man. So I am looking forward to hearing what ultimately happens in the next several days. And then we'll get a chance to talk about that next week on the next episode of the Everything is Copacetic podcast. And then also just really excited because I guess soon after that we'll get information on the Portland G League team. They got their GM, they got their assistant GM, they got their coach. They brought I think it's Jim Moran back, who was an assistant coach with the Trailblazers years ago. It sounds like the last workout that they had, these players that they brought in seem to be players that might not be drafted, could be unrestricted free agents, or undrafted free agents that some of these cats might, they may be looking at for the G League team. So man, just a lot of stuff with the Trailblazers coming up soon. And then of course I'm watching New Orleans Saints stuff, and it sounds like things are going really well with the mini camp, and they're looking solid, they're looking strong. I need to tap with my guy Brookfield Deuce and get his opinion about David Carr, since he was the quarterback for the Raiders. So a lot of stuff, man, a lot of sports stuff that we'll be talking about as well in the next coming months. So that once again, man, thank y'all so much for tapping into this podcast. Just gives me an opportunity to just talk about stuff maybe that I don't necessarily get to talk about on some of my other platforms. You just get to know me a little bit differently, a little bit better. And again, I just have the request, if you're listening to this for the first time, thank you, welcome. If you've been listening for a while now, thank you for coming back. And then my request is just make sure that you subscribe wherever you're listening to this, or if you're watching this, make sure that you subscribe. It goes a long way in building. Of course, we're all trying to figure out the algorithms. Like, rate, comment, those things help as well. Share it, let other people know about it, and just and let's just continue to grow this thing, man. Do what we're trying to do. Listen, once again, man, thank you so much. God bless you all. I truly appreciate y'all, man. And yeah, we just gonna keep it pushing right here. So until we have an opportunity to do this again, I go by the name of DJ Klyph in the wind.